Fucking Christ, content. Live. All right. Can people hear me now? Okay, you can hear me. Good. I'm going to post this over on our subreddit as well, just to make sure that people know about the new URL. Stream URL has changed. Boom. Post. Okay. Very sorry about the audio problems. I don't know what happened there. I did the exact same thing this time, and you can hear me. So anyway. Okay, let's see here. Share. And okay. So maybe the easiest way is to just start over. That's probably what I should do. Because yeah. Anyway. So let's see. I started over here with starters. So starters is a new feature in Component.Studio 3, and yes, I do type fast. Starters is a new piece in Component.Studio 3. You can basically just get started. It's the whole point of this is to make it easy for you to get a new design going right away. So you can import these into a new game, or you can import them into an existing game. CS3 demo Redux, let's go with. And you can see it just clones the game really, really quickly. You can open that right up into here, and I'm going to go in and go to Games and CS3 Demo Redux. And over here, I'm going to do that and this. So now you can see my data set and my design. You can have multiple windows open or whatever you like. And you can update these things in real time. So if I said a wooden sword, let's say, you can edit that and you can see that it'll update in real time right over there very quickly. If I do that with my description, it's a sword made of wood, right? So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. You can edit in real time. This allows you to collaborate with yourself. So if I make a change over here, it's going to make it over there. So if I go into inputs and go to edit row, and I said wooden sword, let's just call it a cool wooden sword. Boom. So when I make that edit here, oh, it didn't update it over there. That's interesting. Well, that's a bug. I will get that fixed. It should have updated it over there. Let's see if it happens the other way. Edit row, and I say wood sword. Okay, it updates that direction, just not the other direction. I'm not sure why. Anyway, I'll put that on my bug list and get it fixed. No big deal. Anyway, so you can very quickly get your design up and running using a starter. And so that's what I've done here. And so the starter comes with a data set that's just got a single row in it. I can very easily go over to cells here and add a few more rows. So let's say I do add 3 more rows to it, something like that. And then if I go back to wood sword, I've got my stuff here. But if I go into these other ones, they're blank because they don't have anything in them. So that's easy enough to fix. In this particular case, this Only seeing the design window, not the dataset window. Interesting. I wonder if, all right, I'm going to try stop sharing, start sharing. Can I show entire screen? There we go. Let's do that. Okay. Can you see that I've got two different windows open now? All right, so now you can see both. Good. Sorry, I'm new at this streaming thing. It's not not my thing. So anyway, yeah. So here I am on row 2. I'm just going to show you again the quick demonstration that if I change one thing one so if I just say, let's say this is a helmet, something like that, you can see. Oh, I'm not actually on that row though. So anyway. So let's go, let's change the description of the helmet since I'm on there now. It's a cool helm, let's say. And then you should see that. There we go. Update right over there. And so you can see that you can collaborate with yourself automatically. I'm going to go ahead and import some images into here, which shows off another feature. If you're in the image manager, you can go to Browse Gallery, and you can start importing some, pieces, some art pieces from it. So if I take this, let's say this shield here and this helm here, and say import selected. So I've imported those items into my local design. And now, let's say I wanted to put those into a folder because I didn't create a folder before. I can very easily just create a new folder of, let's say, items like this. And now I'm in the items folder. You can't see anything. I go back over here. I can just drag and drop these items right into the folder to make it very easy to kind of just move things around. And so there we go. I've got some items in my folder. Okay, so just checking the chat to make sure there's nothing there. It looks like there's nothing there. Good. So now I'm going to go through here and pull this over just a little bit so I can see what's going on in this window. There we go. Okay, so now I will pick out some items here. So I would like to have the wooden sword in that one, and this one I should have the let's say wand, and then in this one we'll put in the helmet. Oh wait, I put the shield in there. Shield, and then I'll put the helmet in this one. There we go. And I could use, you can also use import folder of images, and that would have created a data set for you. But I wanted to keep all of these other columns already in place for this data set. So let's just go ahead and fill these out quick. And shield. Looks like somebody's asked some questions here, so let's see what they have to say. Are there any license restrictions on the images in the gallery? They are all Creative Commons or public domain. And if you go into the library, there will always be a link that will take you to, like for instance, right here, the source of where I got it from, so that you know how to find that particular item. So you can credit the author or see anything that you need to see about where it came from or any kind of restrictions that you need to do. But no, so in general, they're all usable commercially. Some of them you have to give attribution for, some of them you don't, and so on. Raven more. I'm trying to stay in and play some more board games this winter, so catch me Raven less. Okay. So anyway, that's the image library. You can see that our background disappeared here, and that's because in this design, the image that I had pulled in for the background was actually just this main image, which is pulled from here. So if I wanted to keep that original background that was in here, I could go add specific image, go into the root, pick that particular image to put it in the background here, and then I would want to put that behind the other image like that. I hope you just saw that. That's another big headlining feature of Component.Studio 3 is that everything is drag and drop. You saw me drag and drop folders or images into folders before. Here I have drag and dropped a layer. So if I put this main image behind there, again, you won't see it because it's behind there. So I'll just drag those around. You can drag groups around as well, layer groups. You can even drag stuff between layer groups. So if I open up this one, for example, I could drag this description down here, and you can see it's like I'm going to position this in a specific spot. Now, I don't want to do that in this particular case, so I'll just leave it right up there. But yeah, you can totally open and drag and drop whatever you like in this, which makes it move a lot faster. So anyway, so we've gone over here. Oh, I should give a couple more things here. So magic wand for summoning rabbits, let's say, and then defend yourself. So you can go through and I guess I should have been on one of those while I was typing it so you could see this sort of stuff, but it's there. You can go in here and fill in any of these different types of things, and they will then show up in the design, obviously, wherever it's supposed to go. I don't know what this is, I'm just making up numbers here, but whatever. So we're filling in some values. They show up in the design. So that's the advantage of having a starter, is just a way to go in and build out a design really quickly. And then, like I said, you have the image library so that you can kind of fill in wherever you want. Now, in this case, the main image is designed to use up this entire area, but we may not want that. So let's go into size. You can see right now it's using the entire height and width of the card. We may want to change that. So I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop that. Actually, can I even see where that is? I think it's off the edge. So let's just change this to safe for a second here. So it's in. And I still can't see it for some reason. Why can I not see that? Let's turn these off, make it easier for me to see. Is it this background? Oh, it is this background. It's because those I've done myself a disservice here. There, I can see those. I can see those things very easily now. You can see that they blended right in with the particular background that I had selected here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the background, but we're going to use a feature in here to, let's say, a visual effect and add a let's say a color overlay, and we will make this orange, let's say 50%. Something like that. There. Now I can see that background, or see that thing on the background a little bit easier. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and put these items back into place. Oh, it's behind. I got to get those up on top too. So that's another little thing that I didn't even notice from before. So let's just drag this up here. Boom, like that. And let's also go into position. We're going to drag that. Oop, not that piece. This piece right here. We're going to drag this. We're going to move that down here, something like that. And then we will turn these back on. There we go. So you can kind of very easily drag and drop to, do whatever you need to do, resizing images, etc. In here. Let's see, nobody ask any questions? Okay, moving on. You can also see, just how fast all of this stuff is moving as we move along in here. If you're familiar with Component.Studio, you'll know, of course, that you can select any of your items up here and just sort of move through them. You've got your face and your back for the different cards, all that. The normal stuff that you're used to in Component.Studio is all here. It's just that you now have enhanced versions of all that stuff. So, for example, all of you've always been able to come in and look at your styles inside of the designer, for example. You can go in here and you can edit your images. You knew that was there, that was in Component.Studio 2, but in Component.Studio 3, those things are all out here as well. That was something a lot of people wanted to be able to do, is be able to manipulate their all of their different design elements outside of the designer. And so I've made that possible now. So you can come right out here and manage your designs, or manage your styles, manage your images, manage your settings. Everything about the game can be edited out here as well as in the designer. So if I come down back into the designer here, I can go into my game variables just like I could before, but now it's available out here as well. Give me just a moment. I need to. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold. So let's see. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, you can edit all of these things. How do you add in a custom font? That's very simple. So we just go over here to font palette. And again, that's just out here. You just go upload your fonts. You can upload a custom font if you want right off of your computer, but there's also the full range of fonts that are built into Component.Studio as well. So if you, let's say I wanted to find a handwriting font, I would just do this, and then it'll show you a demo of that kind of thing. I can add it to my palette, and I'm good to go. So you've just got the entire Google Fonts font library is available to you right here. But then also you can upload your own custom fonts from your computer. As long as they're TrueType or OpenType, that's how you get them in there. And then when you go into your styles, let's just say handwritten. I'll create a style here, and I can come in here and just manipulate that however I want. So for example, I can say I would like to use that font there, but we're going to make that, let's say we want that to be blue or whatever. I can just type that in. I can also use the color selector to, get myself a custom color, and so on. So you can, that's what the styles are all about. Speaking of styles, one of the things that people really wanted to be able to do in Component.Studio 3 that they couldn't in Component.Studio 2 is be able to override styles right here in the designer. So you can always, like I said before, you can go into your inputs, you can go into your styles, and you can get your different styles. So for example, I could come in here to the bottom area, go to the description, and I can go to text formatting. And right now it's Triangle Sans, but I could go to handwritten, and now it's, that style. But let's say I wanted to override that. I can override that right here where you couldn't do that before. So purple is the default, but now I want this to be orange, let's say, right? Font name is handwritten or whatever, built-in one. I want to change it to this one. So I can override all of those things. I want it to be much bigger than the default font. Whatever the thing is, I can change all of those things. So I want 10 extra pixels worth of spacing, So you can basically come in here and override the most common properties that people want to override on any given style. And you can do that right in the designer on a per text layer basis. So you have full access to all of that. And if you ever want to just go back, you can just repopulate this with inherit. Oops, paste in the wrong thing there. If you don't want to type in anything, you can click into here and hit set default, and that'll do that. So then it's inheriting it. So we're back to the normal default thing as well. So you've got that all going for you with your designs and your styles, managing all of that stuff. One thing you couldn't do, or another thing you couldn't do in Component.Studio 3 or 2 is actually edit the design properties from within the design. So if I decided I wanted to make this a jumbo deck instead of a poker deck, I could change that literally right here. And as long as the design is set to be flexible so that it would automatically scale, you can see that everything in here automatically scaled except for my one background, because I made the background specifically the size of the image. But I could have just as easily set up my background to do the same thing. If I go into size here, instead of doing that, I could have said design, and I want it to be the width of the design, and then go back over here, and I would want the height to be design, the height of the design. And so that way, when I change properties between different sizes of items, I can it'll automatically scale the whole thing. A jumbo deck, now it's a poker deck. Or if I went in and made it a game board, or any 200 plus components that are designed in here, or laid out in here, it would automatically scale to fit whatever that design is. So that's something you used to have to do that, and you still can. You used to have to do that out here. You'd hit edit, and you have all those kinds of things. But now you can edit that right in the editor, and it'll update everything in real time. So I think that's pretty sweet, pretty cool, that sort of thing. I'm going to show you a secret since you showed up for our live stream. I'm going to show you a secret feature that is going to come out tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow, whenever I launched it, sometime this week, we're going to launch 1.0. And there will be a new launch feature, which I think is pretty sweet. So let's go into inputs and go into images. And down here, I already showed you, you could upload your own images, and you've got your browse gallery, but there's also browse game icons, and that's literally gameicons.net. It's integrated directly into Component.Studio. And so you can literally search for, let's say, sword, something like that. And it will, show you a bunch of different swords. You can pick by category if you want to. You can do all kinds of stuff. And then you'll select one. Let's say I want this one, or maybe this one. I can see that right in here. I can colorize it. Sorry that I got a train going on in the background. I can colorize it to be, let's say, green, something like that. And I can even add an outline to that. So I've added a black outline here. I could change the color of that outline too if I wanted to. And then just literally import that into my game. So let's close this out so you can see. Oops, I didn't mean to close the whole thing out. There's my image. So now I have that image directly from Game Icons in my design. So let's see here. In Component.Studio, for a standard 52 poker deck specifically, let's say I want to make a deck like the standard deck, but just swap out suits with other icons and symbols. Yeah, Sean, that is, oh, wait. Oh, yeah, there's a few other things up there. Yes, Sean, we can absolutely do that. So let's go ahead and do that quick. I'll just demo that live right now. We're going to go back over here to starters. Actually, I'm going to close this so I can go full screen with my design. And we're going to go back over here to starters. And there's actually a deck of cards built in to the starters that I put in here. So you can just clone that, and we'll go ahead and do that. And I'll open that up. And now if I go into the data sets here, actually, let's start by going into images. So we've got all these different, things going on in here. It's going to be harder for you to fill in the, it's going to be harder for you to deal with the different face cards because you'll have to, those in some way. But as far as just replacing the suits on normal cards, that's super easy. You could just upload a new suit icon there, or let's just do it quick with game icons. So I'm just going to go in here and go to games, and let's say we'll do police badge as one, and we'll go get another one quick. We'll make it a red font. So let's see here. We did a shield, so let's do a sword again. And so we'll do this sword this time, and this time we'll make it red. Boom. Oop, red. What is going on here? And click. There we go. Okay. So we've got black and red. We import those, and now let's go into our data set. Back over to here, we've got our different things, and we've got our suits for whatever we're going to try and import. In this case, I want to just import the name of the image. So I'm just going to go over here to icons quick and see what it was police badge and pointy sword. I'm just going to type these in here. Now I did this in kind of a funny way, but you'll see why in a second. Sorry, my brain is not working. I should have just pushed this in here. Police badge, and then we'll edit it, get this out of here. And we'll do icons, pointy sword. Just going to do this with two cards quick so you can kind of see it. So I've got that. So this is the 2 of clubs and the 2 of diamonds. We're going to go over here to design, come in here, and there we go. We've changed out the 2 of clubs. And if I go to 2 of diamonds, there we go. We've got our new icons. So it's pretty straightforward to do that for the suit cards. Not as straightforward to do it for the face cards because it's got the icon built into the face card. But you're probably going to want to replace those with your own custom face cards anyway, I would guess. Pardon me for just a moment. Need to handle my cold again. Okay, let's see here. So we've got some people that seem to be pretty excited about the game icons thing. Nice, slick. Okay, good. I guess we're caught up. So let's go back to one of our other designs quick. Let's go to this one and go into images. I wanted to show you another quick, we've got another thing going on here. Yeah, I've got an Egyptian pyramid themed deck trick taker exploration game where I really want to replace the clubs and with onks and make some other changes. Okay, yeah, this will make it real easy for you to be able to do that. Let's say you've got an image, crop it or something like that. Usually in Component.Studio 2, you would have had to go outside the system to do that. But in here, you can actually do that right in the editor. You can see right over here. So there's some extra white space around these. I can literally just say I want to crop it like this and then apply the crop. And you don't have to worry. This is not a destructive process. It is leaving the original image in place and then just putting a new one in there. Now it's going to change it. It's going to add the word cropped to it. But you know, that's easy enough to change if you wanted to change the image name back to something else. But this way you can come right in here and make some changes to your images directly in the system. Excuse me. Likewise, if you wanted to rotate the image, you could, do that as well. So there I've rotated it 90 degrees or anything else that you might want to be able to do. So I might want to resize this one. So I can say, I only want this to be 100 pixels wide or whatever and apply. And now it's a smaller version of that image. So you've got all those kinds of features kind of built right into the image manager. The one thing that you can't do is if you're in an SVG, you can't do those items. So this is an SVG imported from game icons. So you can't crop, rotate, etc. on those, but you can do it with regular raster images. So there is a little bit of a limitation there, but not a huge one. I need a drink of water. Any other questions while I'm taking a drink? Okay. So let's see. Let's take a look at some other fun little things. Actually, let's create a new data set in case people have questions here. I don't want to ruin this one. Test. And we have a much more robust import-export process now. So if I import a CSV, and let's go to downloads because I've got a bunch of them in there somewhere. Really? There we go. Powers. Let's do that one. So it's going to show you a bunch of cool stuff here. Like it's going to add 80 rows to this. It's going to update none of them. It's going to remove one. It's going to add a couple new columns. It'll show you what the rows are that it's going to bring in. So there's a bunch of different stuff going on in there. So it's giving you a lot more information about what it's going to do before it actually does anything. So if you're a CSV importer, you'll get those kinds of features. But if you're a Google Sheets importer, it's going to do that same kind of a thing. Man, my throat's getting pretty scratchy here. Sorry about that. I really like this feature since I routinely accidentally import the wrong file. Yes, it is a great way to warn you that you're about to do something really bad. Let's actually demonstrate that import feature quick. So I showed you before. Let's see. This one should do it. So, so this one's actually saying, there's a whole bunch of problems here. It can't actually validate this data. So when you get this sort of problem, you're probably importing the wrong file, and it won't even let you import it because it's broken. So as an example, so now let's import a better file. And let's see here. Got so many different things going on here. Let's do this one. So now you can see we're going to add in all of these new columns here, and we're going to remove these two columns. So you can see that this particular file is dramatically different than the one we had imported before. So it's really giving you a hint that you're, importing the wrong thing or a different thing. It may not be the wrong thing. Maybe you really do want to import all of this new data. Google Sheets import does the exact same thing, by the way. I don't know if I have a Google Sheet ready to import, so I won't demonstrate that. But it does the exact same thing. And with Google Sheets, when you do have an import of a Google Sheet set up here, maybe I do have one ready. Oh yeah, look at. So we're going to import this. It's when you go to re-import, or if you've made some changes to your Google Sheet, you can import it without even going through this whole menu again. You can actually go import and re-import Google Sheet right there. And if you happen to be on the design, this one doesn't have a design, so let's go make a design for it. Add a design, test, and create new, and we're going to test. I have to select something. Okay, so we're in here, and if we had updated our Google Sheet, we can re-import the Google Sheet directly from the design, which is a feature that has been long asked for by the community of Google Sheet users out there. Anybody have any questions while I take care of my cold once again? Okay. I think I got a little complicated right off the bat. So I really want to demonstrate how easy to use the whole drag and drop system is. So you can literally kind of pick up any layer and just drag it around in Component.Studio. You can layers. Oops, I guess I should pick on the right drag handle and just do that. So you can actually have all. Now, a lot of people by default, the drag and drop. I don't do it specifically because it's dangerous. So if you see when I drag this, you're going to watch this number over here change. So if I rotate it like that, it changes that number. So if you happen to have a formula, it would be, excuse me, it would overwrite that formula. Why it's dangerous is because you can do all kinds of cool formula stuff. And now a lot of people will say, you know what, I don't do formula stuff. But that is no longer true, because even if you are not a programmer, you're going to start using formulas like crazy. So let me show you why. So let's say I add an image, or actually I'll add a box in this case, and I'm going to resize that thing. So I'm going to drag that down so like that. And then we're going to position that box right over here. And you'll note I'm not editing any fields. I'm using the drag and drop stuff. And then we're going to go ahead and rotate that box a little bit like that. So a lot of times to create something like this, you're going to want to add text to it. So there's all kinds of images or all kinds of buttons like this all over Component.Studio 3, where you can hit add image or add text or reposition this or whatever. And it automatically will create a new layer box label layer, it'll create a new layer in your design right here, and it sets it inset to your to the box that you just created. So you can see how it's like 10 pixels in or something like that. So if I go over here to size, you can see it is indeed taking the layer of the width of the box, that's the box element down here, and the height of the box, and then subtracting 20 pixels. So 10 pixels from each side. Let's just change that to 40 and 40 so you can kind of see what's happening when I do that. So it insets it even further. And so anyway, it's going to put these formulas in here for you. It's basically going to do the programmatic funky code that really only programmers would do before. But it's doing this for you by just hitting these little buttons that are like add text to box. So it's allowing normal users that don't know anything about programming to take advantage of some of these programmatic features. And the reason that's cool is because now that box label is applied to this box, it's using the box literally. So now if I come back over here and drag to resize this box, like so, boom, it resized automatically the text layer as well. So yeah, Pale Rider, I'm I'm glad you're seeing it now. Yeah, this is a new feature in CS3. So there were some boxes or some excuse me, some buttons like this before. So there were things like center on before, but this is a lot of these buttons are new in Component.Studio 3 that just make it real easy for you to do things like this. So let's try another thing. Let's say I wanted to move. Let's actually add another thing. I'm going to add an orb, and I want to let's resize that orb as well. Did I not grab it? Oop. There we go, and we'll resize this here like so. Okay. Okay. So now let's say I wanted to move this orb relative to this box somewhere. And click move adjacent, and I'm going to choose box. And I've got this fancy little thing going on here that will say, I would like to move this to the right outside of the box. I would like to move it out here. Now this one's going to be weird because the box is rotated. So it's going to show off weird. So let's go ahead and put that box back to a circle place. I can probably add the calculations to take into account where the box is positioned as well, but I haven't done that yet at this point. So let me put this rotation back to 0 over here. Oh, and the box label has to go back as well. Apparently I don't have that one put in there either. So we'll do that. I'll get that done in a future release as well. But anyway, so now you can see that it has positioned it to the right of that box. Now, if I wanted to, I could say line it up on the edge of that box. So we're going to go back up here to our orb and move adjacent. And I'm going to select the box again. And now the last time I chose this one, this time I'm going to choose this one. So it's going to put it right on the line there. So now it's halvesies right on the line. So you've got some nice little tools. And as you look in here, you can see that it's building out little formulas about where it has to position things to get them to fit right adjacent to the place that you want it to be, whatever that might be. And it doesn't have to be an item either. I can say move adjacent, and I can say safe zone. So that's the blue dashed line right there. And I would like this to be up here. So it's going to put the circle right up here in the safe zone. And boom, I can do that. So you can use those these tools, these buttons all over the place to do fancy little things to make them, position each other. And you don't. It's just there. It's built in. And there's dozens of these. I'm not going to demonstrate them all right now, but just trust me, a lot of them, and they will make it much easier for you to move things around. Let's see. Ethan says, and the move adjacent uses the anchor action to determine how to move. Yes, it does. So let's demonstrate that quick. So I'm going to move this adjacent to the box again, just like we did before. I'm going to put it outside the box. And you'll see that it is actually changing this anchor position. Anchor position is actually a new feature in Component Studio 3. So anchor allows you to kind of say where your components are. I'm sorry, where you're going to grab onto the component when you're putting in your X and your Y values. So that most in Component Studio 1, everything would have been top left. So if I do this, then wherever these values are is going to be top left. So let's just do this as take the box out of the equation for a moment here. So if I said 75, 75, so that's basically putting it up in this corner. And anchor is top left. It's that. But if I change that to bottom right, now I'm grabbing on to the circle, the orb, from the bottom right corner of the orb. So up here, I'm grabbing onto the upper left corner of the orb, right? Top left, that's what we've got here. And over here, I'm measuring everything from the bottom right because I set that up, or top right, or wherever. It's where on the layer are you going to measure your X and Y position from? So this allows you to do some really fancy stuff. So for example, let's put in another box here. And this time we'll fill that in blue so you can see it a little differently. And we will size it to be 100 by 100 pixels. And I'm going to position this to be here. Okay, so again, we're grabbing onto the top here. If I put this into bottom right, now, again, it's grabbing onto the bottom right corner. Why would you want to do that? Let's say you wanted this thing to be directly close to the edge, but in the bottom right corner. So I would say, I want this to be, instead of safe left, I want it to be right. And instead of safe top, I want it to be bottom. So now I'm saying that give me the position, you can see that it's 750 here. Give me the position of the bottom right portion of the design, and we're going to anchor the box to the bottom right side. So this allows you to literally position it right along the edge there, referencing it from these edges here, the bottom and the right, rather than referencing it from the top and the left. Sorry if that's too complicated, but I just wanted to explain it quick because we got the question. Okay, I see that there's another question here. Let's see. Can you select top down or bottom up layer drawing order like in CS2? No, I got rid of that. It's all, so the question is, let me just explain. The question is, the render order, is it bottom up or top down? In Component Studio 2, you could have preferences where you could set that I want it to render the top layer was the first layer and the bottom layer was the last layer. Turns out that in looking at the preferences, preference usage, more than 90% of users just left it as the default. So the bottom layer was the one that they did. So I didn't bother implementing that in this because this is the natural form that every other editing program will use anyway, which is probably why everybody leaves it as the default. So if you're using Photoshop, then you build up from the bottom down. So the box label is on top of the box because first, then we render this second, and so on. So question, I hope, Bri. Ethan says, that's awesome. Had to do the math in CS2 to get the bottom and right alignment. Yes. Talking back about the anchor position. So yeah, you can absolutely get that done in Component Studio 3. There's another thing that you should know about too, and that comes down to, with regard to this anchoring thing, that comes down to rotation. So in Component Studio 2, everything, well, depending on what object you were dealing with, it might have rotated around the top left, or it might have rotated around the middle center. So that's one of the things that made rotation broken in Component Studio 2, was that. And so let's see, where are you dealing with box here, box 2. So let's just rotate this thing so you can kind of see what it is that we're talking about. If I rotate this around top left, watch this blue box down here. I'm going to just change the value a little bit. So see how it's rotating on this corner, right? But if I change this on center, now it's rotating there. And if I rotate this, oop, I went too far, too fast. Let's actually just do the drag rotation. It's probably easier if I show it that way. So you can see how it's rotating around its center here. Whereas if I change this to top left, now you can see it's rotating around the top left corner. Do you see what I'm saying? And so that makes it, harder to deal with in a lot of cases. You mostly want to do it around middle center, which is why it defaults to that. But you have the option of rotating around other points on your layers now to make it so you can do rotation however you want to do rotation. So I hope that's helpful. I'm going to deal with my cold again. Please ask any questions you have while I'm doing that. Okay. So let's see here. We had just talked about that. Okay, so let's talk about some text stuff quick. Again, going down the easier to use path. I showed you that we created this text layer on top of this box layer. Now, a lot of people don't use the three dots menu for anything. They'll just come in here and type, and this is more text, let's say. And then when you click out of there, it shows you, your update. But there is a good reason to use the three dots menu for any of these. Like if I did this on the box color, the fill, if I click in here, I can actually see, this sort of thing. And if I'm in a number thing like this fill opacity, I have some other options in here. So it's useful to come in there. But in text specifically, there is another reason to come in. And that's because I've started working on a rich editor. So you can literally say, put your text here, we've got all this in here. I can literally kind of highlight some text, and then I can apply a style to it, like so. And so it automatically inserts the style, wraps it around the text that you had highlighted. So you can see that over here, I've changed this to a different font right there. So I'll do that again with the word more here. I'm going to wrap it around the handwritten one. And so now it's, handwritten and purple. And so you can see how that's working. You can also insert icons that same way. And so if I just insert piercing sword, it will insert it directly into the text, right at whatever position you want it here. So you can say, let's say I go to your text and I put it right there, hit insert. I go to items and I want to insert this shield right there. And then it inserts it. And as soon as I click out, now you've got the shield right in line in the text. So does that style insertion work in the dataset editor as well? It sure does. So yeah, if you go into edit, you could do it in edit row and hit the stuff here. So let's go down to where the description is. Oh, that's right. I forgot that I imported all this crazy stuff. Well, this is a text field, so we'll click in there. So you can see there's the style there. But if I go out in here over into the dataset editor, as long as it is a text field, so like tile ID is currently a text field. If I click in there, you've still got the style editor stuff or the rich editor right here in the dataset editor. Yum, that's a feature I will enjoy. I'm glad you find it tasty. So yeah, that's a lot of the stuff that I'm doing in Component.Studio 2 or 3 is about ease of use. I mean, a lot of it is performance. Like literally exporting your files is going to take a lot less time. Loading up your design in the first place is going to take a lot less time. There's a bunch of people that have been playing with it already who, it would take minutes before, and now it's seconds to load their design. So You're going to see the speed, the performance very easily as you get into the system. So I thought I would demonstrate the things that are a little less obvious, which is, the ease of use kinds of stuff. So along those lines, sometimes you're in a design and you want to add a new image and you haven't uploaded one yet. So let's say I want to add a specific image. So I have my items here that I could do, but I want to upload a new item right away. I can literally do this from this little input. I don't have to go into the image manager. So I don't know what this image is, but we'll just upload it quick. It looks like the back of some other card. So it is literally uploading that. Oh, right. Actually, that's going to fail because I logged a bug today that you can't upload to the root for some reason. So I've got to fix that one yet. You can upload to the other ones through here, but you can't upload to the root for some reason. So anyway, there it goes. It imported the image, or it should have imported the image. Let's see if it did. It didn't, because it didn't. Why didn't it do that? I guess there's another bug in there somewhere. Well, demos always go that way, right? You can end up getting weird things happening. So let's just add an image and see if we can get it to work the other way. So if I just go into here, I upload and I say, upload this, is it working or is it going to fail on me? I don't know. Yep, it's still just going to fail on me. I don't know why it's failing. It was working earlier today. It's been working for a while. I don't know why it's broken now. I'll get it fixed. Anyway, the idea is that you have a quick way to upload images. You don't even have to go into the image manager if you just want to upload something very quickly. Another thing as far as quick quality of life type features, pretty much everything in Component.Studio 3, if you double click on a name, you can rename it. Right? And that's literally everywhere. So if I go into, let's say, the image manager, if I want to rename the piercing sword, I can name it Piercing Sword 2, whatever. If I go into the style manager and I want to rename a style, there I go, Triangle Serif 2, whatever you want to do. So just a quick, nice little ease of use kinds of situations to just make your life a little bit easier as you're working in Component.Studio 2 or 3. Sorry, brain not working. So you have, there's just tons of quality of life things. Another little one here is this little icon up here should mostly be green, but as you load in a new design, you will see that this thing will spin or do all kinds of other stuff. This is basically a status indicator to let you know what's going on with the design. If you mouse over it, it'll give you like that little tooltip there, system ready. But you can also, recalculate everything if you think there's something that needs to be recalculated. So anyway, that's that. Another little quality of life feature is you can actually delete, like if I delete this layer group right here, I can actually restore that. Oops, I didn't mean to delete that layer group, restored. Same thing with an individual layer. I want to get rid of this box, or if I want to get rid of this, did I get rid of this? Oh, this is the image that didn't work. Let's actually get rid of something real though. Let's get rid of this orb. So I want to delete this orb. I come in here and on the plus menu where I add a layer at the bottom, I can restore something from trash. So I can restore that orb. Okay, let's see. It looks like we got some things. Do you still need to be careful about renaming styles, or will they update in your designs if you rename? Absolutely not. It will, if you rename a style, it's not going to go through and try to update all of your text in the thousands of places that you might have used that across your entire design. That would be crazy to try and do that. It would be very error prone. It does not do that. So if you decide to rename a style, you need to go back and redo that yourself. There is, of course, the find and replace in the text or in the dataset editor, where you can say, I want to, change one thing to another thing using find and replace, but you would have to do that in each individual style, each individual layer, wherever the heck you used those names. You would have to go through and change those in all of the lots and lots of places that you did that. Bry asks, does an image file rename propagate to any references in the design? Again, no. So if you rename an image to image 2, it was called image 1 before, and now it's image 2, it would still be image 1 everywhere you changed it. Trying to link through the millions of places would be very error prone, just the same thing as styles. Be very error prone, and it would not do well to have the machine do it. There's just way too many places where you can do that, because this is a Component.Studio is what's called a parametric system. Sorry, I gotta take care of my nose again here. Okay, sorry about that. Like I was saying, Component.Studio is what's called a parametric system. That means it takes parameters all over the place. That's what those little template codes are that you can see. Like if I go in here and I put in, let's say, design, and I get design.right, this is a parameter, right? And so those kinds of things can have all kinds of little bits of code in there, and that can change all kinds of stuff. So if I tried to do a find and replace across your entire design, or your entire game rather, it would more than likely break all kinds of stuff. And you'd be like, oh, I don't use any of that stuff. But the rest of Component.Studio does use it, even if you don't. So it's not safe to do it, so I don't do it. Let's see here. We've got, fortunately, building your style names and images into your data set and referencing them with row variables helps to alleviate the renaming problem. That's true. That is absolutely true. And Bry says, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the last part. That's why I've been calling you Bry. Brykovian, maybe? Brykovian. Totally fair. It's parse parameters instead of referential tokens. Yes. So that's the deal. So yeah, I don't do that anywhere. Hopefully that answers your question. It sounds like it did for both of you. It looks like we are 8 minutes past the hour. I said that I would do this for about an hour. And obviously I've got my cold going on, so probably you guys aren't wanting to hear me much more. Feel free, please ask any questions. We'll hang out for another couple of minutes here and answer any questions that we can. We can always do more live streams in the future if people have specific questions that we want to deep dive down a specific set of discussions. For today, I just really wanted to demonstrate some of the new stuff that was in Component.Studio 3. We went through and did a lot of those things. We by no means covered everything. There are literally thousands of new features in Component.Studio 3. There was no way in an hour we were ever going to cover everything. But I wanted to give you a quick overview, answer some of your questions, that sort of thing. So if there's a specific demonstration you'd like to see in the future, let me know. We don't have to do that here. We can, add it in any of the multitude of social media that we have out there. But if you do have some more questions tonight, feel free to post those in the chat quick here. And like I said, I'll hang out till about 7:15 and make sure that I answer all of those questions. So let's see here. Brykovian says, pronounced brick oven. Brick oven? Brick oven. Oh, okay. I get it. I would have never guessed that from the spelling that it is, but okay. Oh, and you're Matt. Okay. Hey, Matt. Good to see you. Ardent Vigor says, great work on this update. This upgrade is massive. And yeah, thank you. It's been pretty much all I've done for the last 4 months straight. So I'm glad it shows. So I've still got obviously some bugs to fix. We saw a couple of them here tonight. I will get those fixed. The goal is that Component.Studio 3 will go stable this week sometime. over the Thanksgiving break. And then next week, we will be doing the importing. We'll start the importing of all of the Component.Studio 2 data, bringing over everybody's designs, migrating those to Component.Studio 3. At this point, we've already migrated, usernames and subscriptions, stuff like that, but still have migrate over all of the data from people's designs. Brickovian, yeah, says, thanks for the overview. Quite an impressive update to the platform. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for noticing. So anybody have anything else that they want to talk about, or questions things that they'd like to demonstrate? I'm happy to stick around and do some more demonstrations if anybody has anything. Nicholas Meyer says, thanks, JT. I learned a few simple things that'll make a big difference for me. Now to dig more. Yep. That's the thing. You're going to learn lots of stuff by playing. You can learn little tips and tricks, by watching me do some stuff, but you're going to learn a lot more by doing it yourself. Hopefully you saw that there's a lot of stuff in here to make things easier to use. One of my favorite things is that I work on my laptop alone. I don't have multiple screens generally because I have to be ultra mobile. So I added in this little quality of life feature that gets rid of all of the extra. I don't know if you can see that in the live stream. Let's see. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Gets rid of all the extra Chrome around your browser. So you've just got Component.Studio in here. Gives you a little bit more space to spread out. That's especially useful in the dataset editor. Let's see here. Ardent Vigor Design says, how does enumeration on multiple columns work? If I remember, it was only one at a time. That is true. So that is a new feature in Component.Studio 3. I should probably just start a new, no, I'll just come back in here. Let's do this. And then we'll just use the delete all rows feature. And then we'll add a single row, and we'll just put this in tile ID. So I'm just using some garbage stuff here. So you can have, for example, you might say blue, green, red. And then you might have some suits, let's say hearts, clubs, and spades, right? So you've got these two things. So this is, by the way, it says tile image, but it's really not. It's just a text field at this point. I'm just reusing stuff that was already in here. So I can set in here another one. So what this is going to do is it will create a card for row 1, blue hearts, blue clubs, blue spades, green hearts, green clubs, green spades, and so on. So it allows you to have multiple columns that are all enumerating at the same time, so you can create more variance on that sort of stuff. So if I come back over here to my design, and if I look in here, you can see all of those different variants were created. So I had one row of data. And so the cool thing is that you can actually create an entire deck of cards, a regular deck of playing cards with a single row of data in your data set if you wanted to. That's pretty crazy. Let's see here. Nicholas Meyer says, oh, dang. And Ardent Vigor Design says, K, so they multiply. There are a couple other little things. If you happen to have, let's say, I'm going to add another row quick. If I have a row where there is nothing to enumerate, that will still get one enumeration. It'll just be called row 2. So if I come back over here to my designer, you'll see there is still a row 2. So it's not a strict multiplication because, if you have this in here with 0 multiplying against 0, it would be 0. But there's an override in there so that you can do that, or you could just do orange and black, let's say, and so this one could be empty, and then it'll just have in here it'll just have row 2 black and row 2 orange. So it's not it has a little bit of variation going on in there. It's not just direct multiplication, but you do have some stuff that you can do. The one thing to be careful of is if you had a quantity, let's say 6 on there, then every one of these variants is going to get a quantity of 6 associated with it. So you can't set a separate quantity per variant that you have going on. That's your one weird caveat where you would get maybe into trouble. So hopefully that answers your question, Ardent. And yeah. So, all right. Well, it looks like we're at 7:15. Does anybody have any last minute questions, or should we call this a night? All right. I don't think there's any last minute questions. Looks like Ardent said yes. That was good. So thanks everybody for coming out, and we will talk again later. Have a good night.